Howdy. Welcome back to Financial Freedom for the Lazy Person. The question is, are you lazy enough to want to make work optional? I'm here today with my brother David. Both of us retired buying rental properties. You retired at 50, I retired at 52. The question that I want to cover in this video is if somebody is starting today, hypothetically, we lose everything. Less emotional baggage than going through your divorce and losing half of everything, but let's say you lose everything and we're starting over. How would you start investing in real estate, or would you invest in real estate today?
Oh, I would definitely go into real estate again. Starting fresh now. It's a little different for me. I have the ability to start a tree service and make some money, and that would be my main focus in order to get some money up so I could actually start pursuing properties again. Um, that would be my fastest way right now at this moment.
Okay, so step one, create active income, right? Okay.
Well, you make it sound so great.
Well, I got
All
the
the words I
brains, you got
said,
the
you
looks.
said
What can we say?
perfect.
So Uh, I would do the same, except I don't have the ability to start a tree service, and I have no desire to work in a tree service. So I have a CDL. I'd go back to driving. I'd create active income. I'd find a driving or a teaching driving job that made a good amount of income, and I would go to work. A lot of times when people say I want to start in real estate, they think I would get my real estate license, or I would wholesale properties, or I would flip properties, and neither one of us said that that would be how we started.
No,
Have you ever sold a property?
no, I've had some taken from me in a divorce.
Okay.
Not quite the same.
It's not quite the same. So you hope you're like me, you hope that your real estate portfolio, your properties perform better than your marriage,
Oh yeah, definitely.
actually until death do us part. But if we lost everything and we were starting over, first thing we do is actually create active income. David would start his tree service again. I'd go back to driving. I'm an employee, not an entrepreneur. You are an entrepreneur. You would know how to run a tree service. So we'd create active income. So how much money would you want saved up before you started buying real estate again?
Ooh. It really doesn't take that much. If you do a whole lot of research, there's properties out there for next to nothing. And I would pursue those. I wouldn't go big time. I would go for foreclosures. There's some people that are behind in life, behind in their taxes, really struggling. And you could work a deal with them for even a portion of what they got. That way they stay above water and you get something out of the deal. There's so many different angles and ways to do it. Um, for me, I could approach people with money with my skill set now as to finding basically an abandoned tore up house and making something out of it for little to no money and have it producing profit relatively quickly. And if I prove myself to a few people that actually have money, they may back me in future ventures. I've never quite done that, but it's always been in the back of my mind.
So you're looking for very inexpensive deals that have a lot of work that you could do the work. So you could find the deal, you could do the work. You would look for somebody with money maybe to buy the deal.
To help out with it, yes.
Okay. Um, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I want the most expensive properties I can find. I don't want cheap properties, and I don't want properties that need work. So I would be saving up pretty much the least amount possible to get into real estate. And it would probably take a year or two, but I'd be saving 20 or $30,000, working a lot of overtime, working a side hustle, generating that active income. Again, I'm not an entrepreneur. I wouldn't be wholesaling or flipping. That's not my thing, even though I have the skills to probably do that. But the reason I would want the most expensive properties is because I don't want partners. I wouldn't want somebody else to bring the money. I wouldn't want somebody else to bring the work or find the deal. So both strategies are right, right? One's right for you, one's right for me. I would do an owner occupied. So I'd only put down $0 or 3.5% with FHA or 5% with a conventional loan. On a $400,000 or $500,000 property in our market, you would be looking for less than 100,000.
I would.
Okay. So his is probably going to be worth more once the work is done, but mine is work, tenant occupied or rent ready. So I don't have the work because I'd be working the overtime, working the job. I wouldn't have the time or skill set to go and do the work on the property to do the value add that you're talking about doing.
Right.
All right. So we both start by you find the deal that you could do the work, you look for partners with money, or you work your tree service and save the money.
Sure.
I work a job and save the money over a year or two to be able to buy the first property. Your first property that you buy, would it be a single family house, a duplex, a fourplex, or a 20 unit apartment complex?
I find single family homes are a little bit cheaper. That's basically all I have. I don't have any, well, I got three houses on one property, so I guess that would be a triplex.
And where you live, how many houses are on that property?
I got two on that
Okay.
property.
I'm not correcting you. I'm pointing out.
You just did it. No, he's right. Now, to me, a duplex is a single structure with two different dwellings, and a triplex is a single structure with three separate dwellings.
Yeah. So you have a house with an ADU
I do.
and you have three houses on one property. What you don't own, that I do mostly, all except for one, two, is what is called small multifamily. A duplex that's just one building, a fourplex that's just one building. I'm going to say something that you've said. Correct me if I get the quote wrong. You said, I don't want to own a duplex because I can't imagine people wanting to live that close to somebody else.
I did say that.
Okay. And
I
so,
personally wouldn't like it myself.
yeah. So you live in a house and you have another house on your property that's, 100 feet away
Sure.
on 5 acres. You have plenty of your own space. Your three houses in California are on large acreage, so they have space between each one, their
Yeah,
own fenced yards. Right. I get so you have a business model that you like that is single family houses.
true.
Okay. I would be looking for a duplex, triplex or fourplex on a couple of things. One, the size of my down payment, because I'm probably going to put 5% down. Two, the job that I have, I would want to make sure that I could probably handle the mortgage if I didn't have paying tenants. So like when I started the first time, I'd be picking up a duplex instead of a fourplex. But I'm not stupid. When I started hunting, if I found a fourplex that was a great deal, I would jump on it because of the skills that I've learned in the last decade owning rentals. So you'd go single family house, possibly partners. You'd be doing value add, which means you want a place that's basically falling apart that you can fix up.
True.
All right. And you've done that. How many times have you bought a place that needed a ton of work?
Just about every time.
I, yep. And I've done it once and we'll never do it again. And it created about $300,000 in the place that we're in right now when I go to sell this.
Right.
That just didn't exist before. It's not worth it.
Once you've rehabbed a place and you get fairly good at it, it's not that expensive if you do the work yourself. And you learn the shortcuts, so it just goes by a little bit smoother and quicker. So for me right now, starting out now, that would be a big advantage for me.
Okay. So we've determined how you get the money, the type of properties we'd go for. You'd start your business again. I'd be driving again. How would you know if a deal was a good deal or a bad deal? What would you look at?
Wow, that's a tough question. Uh, for me, the structure, something to work with, a good solid structure. I could work all around that as far as the building itself. That'd be my number one priority. Um, Starting with very little money, going for the better neighborhoods would be really tough. So I'd probably be searching for the not so great neighborhoods, something I could afford to get started. Because once you're started and you got a few of them under your belt, then you can pursue the better deals out there, in my opinion.
I agree with that. I also don't like the really nice neighborhoods. I specifically avoid good school districts because the good school districts are good because they have higher taxes. I think there's more demand in the rougher areas, maybe not a war zone, right? But I mean, like you invest in Roy, Washington,
Right.
and Rainier, Washington, and Yelm, Washington. Like I would invest in those. I would stay out of the bigger cities.
Right.
I would stay out of gated communities. I would stay out of, high-end McMansion type houses. We call those Class C properties. So like let's say that there was a massive recession some people think we're in one right now, but let's say, unemployment went to like 20% or something crazy. There's more demand in our type of properties because they're not as nice and people can move to save money. So we're actually
Makes sense.
protecting ourselves when bad things happen. Okay. So you said you want a good structure. In real estate, they probably say it has good bones. So
Good
like
bones, right?
good bones. That you own mobile homes, so you're looking for mobile homes where the frame is good, but you can do the rework on the walls or the heating system.
Those worked well for me in the past.
Mhm.
I don't shy away from mobile homes at all.
No, you've got a skill set to work on those, and leaning into that would be smart. For me, most of the people who watch content on YouTube think that when you go to look at a rental, they're going to mention the thing that you didn't even mention that I don't look at as much. They're going to say, I want to know if the numbers are good. They want to know how much do I put into it? How much am I going to get out every year? I get this thing called cash on cash return on investment. And yeah, it's important to know how to do that, but it's not what I look at. I want to know that I own rentals that people want to rent. So I look for, well, I'm looking for rent ready or already occupied. That means the bones are good. It's already got plumbing, it's already got electric, that's all hooked up and running because there's probably somebody living there. I want small multifamily, so a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, or a house with an ADU, as similar to a single family house as possible. Yours are all single family, which and the average turnover and the average tenant lives in a single family house for about 7 years. The average family lives in an apartment about 2 years. So I don't want a lot of turnover because I'm lazy and I want tenants to stay a long time. And I think you have tenants from before 2006 still living in some of your properties.
I do.
Okay, so that's the goal. Single family's better than my duplex, triplex, or fourplex. I admit that because the turnover is less. So what I look for is a duplex, triplex, or fourplex or house with ADU as similar to a single family house as possible. I don't like up down units. I like side by side units. I like places with garages. I like places where each unit has its own separate fenced yard. You've been to most of my duplexes, you see how there's separate fenced yards. So the idea is I'm getting the multifamily 30-year fixed rate debt on a place is very similar to single family houses. I probably have more turnover than you, but I don't have as much turnover as people who buy apartment complexes. So that's how we get started. We focus on the work, we look at the properties. I'm looking for places, we're both looking for places that aren't in good neighborhoods, they're in decent neighborhoods.
Right.
Um, you want single family, I want houses like single family. How many of your properties don't have a washer dryer hookup?
All mine do.
All of mine do too. So
That's a must for me.
that's a must. So we're looking for things that keep tenants long term. So the fenced yards, the washer dryer hookups. I don't know if any of yours have a garage.
I have a few that have garages.
Okay,
Um, they're not attached to the house. It's
right.
separate
Oh, the
garage.
Roseman has the garages, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I prefer garages in Washington. I actually like carports more than garages, but I want at least one or the other because I like good parking. I look at the amount of parking that the property has. So that's what we look for in the property. Let me see if I had another possible question. What kind of financing would you use? You talked about partners with money. Would you ever consider a bank as a partner with money?
Well, starting out, I wouldn't be living in my own house, I guess. So home equity line of credit wouldn't work.
Which is what you did the first time, right?
That is.
Mhm.
So I would have to pursue a mortgage for the first one and go from there. Keep in mind, when you buy a property, you want it to generate more money than what it's costing you. Doesn't mean that you got to make it perfect to get somebody in there. You could just make it livable and habitable. So it's making money and you can pursue the next one. When people move out, as you've started to get a better portfolio, you can go back to these places and make them as nice as you want because you'll now have money to do that. But getting started and getting money coming in is very important in the beginning stages of this.
And what you referenced there is what most people here on YouTube call cash flow. You want more money coming in than's going out, and they actually have an equation to figure out if it's a good deal or a bad deal. That's a whole nother video. But yeah, you want to make more than it's costing you.
Right.
That's the idea. Uh, so you would use a mortgage to buy your first place, and then you would look at a home equity line of credit as you built up equity, or
I would.
okay.
Definitely.
I'm definitely a fan of mortgages. I don't like having paid off properties. I would like to do 1,000-year mortgages. So I would try to find lenders that would do a 40-year mortgage if it's possible. I wouldn't do 15-year. I would care about interest rates. I have videos out on how to shop for the best interest rate. So I would do the work for that. But all of my properties that I purchased, if I started over today, would have mortgages on them. I'm not a fan of buying cash. I don't like gaining appreciation on only what I've invested. I don't like getting depreciation on only what I've invested. I want that levered position. I want the protection, the asset protection that comes from that. So one of the reasons I would go back to work is because a consistent W-2 income would make it a lot easier to get a loan. If you started your business again and it's been closed down for several years, the banks might want a year or two of taxes to show that you can make money at it again,
Right.
which means you have to claim the income. Did you know you can claim your income when you work a private business?
How stupid would that be?
That would be so stupid. But you might want to be bankable.
Right.
Right. Okay. Great
Yeah,
area.
the home equity, for me to jump on that right away, the main reason for me is the properties I go for are usually in such bad shape that banks won't lend on them. So it gives me more to bargain with. I got money sitting there that I can use without a reason or an excuse. And it gives me the opportunity to just go out and buy these places. It's worked for me in the past, so that's the avenue I would choose again because it's proven.
So 2025 is ending. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to wrap up with a couple of things. And I want any questions that come in the chat. We'll keep this video going. This video is going to last as long as the questions do from this point on. Here's my last kind of question before we get to any of the viewers' questions. Um, if you start today, it's the end of 2025. We're entering what's called the fourth quarter. Years are divided into quarters. I don't know if you, but it's fourth quarter. I think you know that because this month your taxes are due.
That's just like a football game, right?
It's like a football game. Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Gotcha.
That's sports ball, right? Okay. You start now. It's beginning of winter 2025. How long until you would be able to shut the tree service down again and just be retired off your rentals? How long do you think it would take you?
Well, that's a tough one. You know, I could safely say 10 years, but I'd shoot for less than that. And I'm a little bit older now, and those trees are getting a little bit taller. I still love doing them, but I would try to get out of the tree service as quickly as possible. Get set.
It's possible that maybe you don't have to do everything yourself in running a tree service. You could hire a climber, you could hire a faller, you could hire brush haulers. Like
That's
you
a
don't.
lot like babysitting,
It
though,
is
you
a lot
know?
like baby. I know you hated that. I know you hated working with me. That was a
Really
lot like
did.
babysitting, but
Yeah,
only
they
you
show
only.
up and they're surprised that that you want them to work.
I know. So you would do most of it yourself, which would be a good reason to get out of it as soon as possible.
Yeah,
Um, I really like that you said 10 years. For me, it would be a 10-year plan. I know the hockey stick growth, which means things grow faster towards the end, like a hockey stick,
okay.
would probably start happening at about 6 years. So at the 6-year point, I would start looking at how much longer I would continue to work.
Makes sense.
My problem that I usually see is people think you've done it once, you have the knowledge, you have the skill set, you would just do it in a couple of years. No, you'd have to go a couple of years to buy the properties, a year or two to do the work on those, to get the cash flow to buy the next properties. And yeah, you could go borrow money from other friends and do it faster, but now you have partners who are taking a lot of the profits
Right.
and you don't have all the control. Uh, so that was really the point I wanted to make is two guys who've done it. You've been retired now a decade. I've been retired 3 years. Uh, it would take us 10 years. If it goes faster, awesome. But if we made a 5-year plan, I think we would take too big of risks and we would
Oh,
take
yeah.
chances and it would probably blow up in our face.
True.
So Ivan says he hopes that this is the relationship he has with his brother in 10 years. I hope we're both retired in 10 years with real estate.
Hmm.
And it looks like we have no question askers on today. So this can be a nice short live.
Well,
Um,
not entertaining enough, I guess.
That's okay. I don't think we were mean enough to each other. I got
Oh,
boxing gloves over there, and full pads if
go
you
get
want.
them.
Okay. Uh, when is the last time we sparred?
Been a while.
It was in your, not today.
Not today.
She's like, no, we're not taking a trip to the hospital today.
Just seemed like the other day I heard my mother yelling, "You two knock that off out there."
Mhm. I remember when, should I tell the story of when she hit you in the head with the 2x4?
if you want
and
to.
you deserved it.
There's a spot back here.
I know there is. Um, so you have 10 rentals now, they're all paid off.
I do.
You have money in the bank.
I do.
Are you buying another property?
I'm searching, actively searching. Not exactly sure what I want yet, but I'll know when I see it.
Okay, so you're looking, what does it mean you're looking to find that? Like, do you have a real estate agent sending you emails with listings in it?
No, I
No.
just get on the internet every now and again, look around. I've kind of got a dream of buying in Hawaii and more or less for a vacation place. And it could also generate money. Oh,
I have a friend who lives in Hawaii. Would you like me to connect you with him so he can tell you this is an agent you can work with and this is where how you pick your
that could
market?
help. Yeah.
So Mark, the financial firefighter, who I was on his channel this morning, I'm going to connect you with my brother David, and maybe you can connect him with an agent or tell him where the Howleys are allowed to live, where he won't get mobbed because he's not the islander that you guys want to live there. Uh, there is some questions coming in here. Thank you for that. Saeed asks, how do you find the right market? What makes you pick Hawaii? Why would that be your market?
I just like Maui. I've been there many times. I'm so relaxed when I'm there that it'd be a good place for me to go stay in my own place instead of a resort. And for me, that would be more fun. Right on the beach. That'd be important.
I wish I could show the
Good rain.
camera to your feet today because I actually made a comment about how I don't have any respect for people who wear sandals. Mark in Hawaii said, well, Hawaii, you get a pass. You're wearing sandals today.
Yes, I am. And these sandals have been in Hawaii.
They have been in Hawaii, and they're the same kind that you had in Thailand and Portugal
Yes,
and
they are.
Colombia and everywhere that we've been.
Same
Um,
sandals, same feet.
exactly. Same lack of respect. All right, so you picked Hawaii because you want to live there.
Well, I just would like to be able to visit there
A
anytime.
good reason to go there. Yeah, I like it. Okay. Um, for me, I pick the market where I have trusted boots on the ground. So you've been to Hawaii a few times. Do Red and Marge own property there, or do they just go travel there?
They just travel.
Okay. So I would continue to invest currently in Washington State because I'm the trusted boots on the ground here. If I couldn't find deals within a year or two, I'd probably invest around Gary, Indiana, because I have trusted boots on the ground there through my friend Mike, who has a YouTube channel, Millennial Mike, who owns rentals in Gary, has a good system, good team in place. His agent Angelo, I would probably work with him, connect and get properties there if I wasn't investing in Washington. So neither of us said where the population is growing, where there's enough economic drivers, where the U-Haul trucks are moving. It is where do we know we want to live, where you'd be the trusted boots on the ground, or where do we know somebody? That's how I pick the market.
Right.
All those other things are good to know how to choose the right property.
Yeah, it's true. If I was to buy here in Washington, the state that I live, I find that properties in Thurston County, the taxes are cheaper than the ones in Pierce. Now that's something to think about because my rents are exactly the same. So that would save you some money in the long run, in my opinion.
I don't know if you're watching or not, but the rents in Thurston County are going higher than Pierce County now too.
Oh, that's
So
great.
on your next turnovers, you might actually have still low taxes, higher rents. I've got, I'm half and half. I'm like four properties in Pierce, four properties in Thurston. Thurston County rents are going high. Pierce County taxes are going higher. Pierce County has a lot more, like the city of Tacoma. I guess city of Olympia does the same thing, more restrictions. But the Section 8 program in Thurston County is great to work with. The one in Pierce County sucks. So you might want to learn that about the market too.
Okay,
So you know what type of tenants you want. You have military tenants,
I do.
so you're diversified that way too. I don't think you currently have any Section 8 tenants.
I do not.
That's because he's racist.
That's not it at all.
What have you told me when I said you should rent to Section 8? Don't answer that. You'll get sued. Okay. Don't actually don't answer that.
Okay.
Okay. That was a joke. Thanks, Jason. Ninja Vanish can't think of any questions. Always good alive when David is on. I think people appreciate you
Well,
here. I
thank
get a
you.
lot of those comments after too. Do you people should understand how much alcohol it takes to get you to sit here or how much weed candy I have to give you to get you to sit in this chair.
Just the alcohol.
Just the alcohol. Uh-huh. Oh, is that how we're talking now? Okay. Ivan, got to cut down some tree branches that are getting too close to the house. Going to get that extended pole with the saw. Yep. Any tips? So which kind type of pole saw would you suggest?
Well, still makes a really good one. The reason I say that is the blade on them is the fastest cutting. That's the one I'd go with. Going with the mechanical one, if that's what you're talking about, aren't really safe for somebody without experience. You can really get yourself in trouble. And definitely don't stand on a ladder while you're using one unless you know what you're doing and are strapped into the tree.
Our dad passed away on a ladder on a tree job, so we're both averse to using that ladder. And our other brother still has the same ladder.
Yes.
Um, so with a pole saw, I would get one that adjusts, um, probably a 16 foot that you can make shorter when you need it. You're going to find that the end has a, I prefer the one that has a chain over the end that because it's a pole saw, but then you actually have like a lopper uh, blade that comes down. Take the rope that comes away that you pull to lever that blade, wrap it in duct tape for about a foot, right at the length where that rope would get caught inside the blade. So they don't come that way, but almost every pole saw that you see after a couple of years, somebody has pulled on it while the rope is through the part that cuts. And so wrap it in duct tape, and then you'll feel that, and you won't chop into your rope as much. Lowe's and Home Depot have some good options. I don't usually go to the like you're way more into trees, and so you have like this certain saws that you like.
Right.
I like uh, knowing that I can go and get it replaced with parts that are going to be here in a year or two. And you want to have a good distance between shrubbery in your walls and trees in your roof because if insurance drives by and it looks like the tree's too close, they won't get out of their car. So look at the angle from the street. They can cancel your insurance. And the reason they want to cancel your insurance, Ivan, I'm not sure exactly, I can't remember right now where you invest, uh, but a lot of states have a limit on how much your insurance is allowed to increase every year, kind of like a rent control, but insurance control. So they want a reason to cancel your insurance because now when you go to get a new policy, that's not an increase, that's a new policy, and there's no limit to how much more that can cost you. So they're often looking for a reason to cancel your insurance. Uh, thank you. Have you ever utilized a 203K loan? Do you know what a 203K loan is?
I have no idea what it
It's
is.
good. I'm not making fun of you because you do, because most people don't. The 203K loan is when you buy a property that needs a lot of work, like the ones that you do. The bank basically lends you the money, and they say, here's also a bunch of money to fix it. So you can go to the bank and get that loan. Here's the challenge. You have to have a contractor who's okay getting paid what's called piecemeal. I've finished the framing and the electric rough-in, get paid. I've finished the plumbing, get paid. I've finished the roof, get paid. Whatever they're doing for the 203K, whatever the repairs that were needed. And so in the time when there's not a lot of work going on, it's easier to find a contractor that's okay with a 203K loan. In a time when there's a lot of work going on, a lot of rehabs, a lot of flips or anything, it can be a challenge. So it kind of has a window of opportunity where it might make sense. I haven't, you haven't, uh, there's a YouTube channel, Meet Kevin. That's how he got started, was a 203K loan. I think the Lumberjack Landlord has used a few that were streamlined 203K loans. So they give a set $35,000 and it might be easier to access. I
Hmm.
haven't done a lot of research on it. It might be one if we literally started over, I would probably go to you and go, this is how 203K loan works. Instead of borrowing money from people, borrow money from the bank, including the money to fix the property because
Right.
it's not bankable. And then when it's
I've never
done,
pursued one like that, but with the tree service, I've been paid by them before.
yeah.
But it works. I understand the concept.
Thank you, Taylor. And it says, I have a house that the owner is willing to do 100% owner financing, but it does require work. I'm trying to figure out the best way to utilize the low interest owner financing, but financing the repairs. So if you could buy a house from somebody where they just let you make payments, but it needed work, what would you do to come up with the money to do the repairs?
That was me, obviously, a tree service thing, but I'd be a little bit scared about that. I mean, what happens if you get into it, a lot of money, and they decide to keep the place? You know, I'm sure somehow you could drop a contract that might cover you, but that'd be, for me, just a red flag. I would never pursue anything like that.
So, Taylor, that's a good reason that you're here and asking the questions because educating yourself can solve the problem that we just saw. A confused mind says no. So David's never looked into that and doesn't know how a note is created and how the mortgage on your property is no different than a note and how you can record it that you're the owner. So yeah, there's a legal way to do that. But if you don't do the research, there's strategies out there that might be very viable. But if people don't do the research, we just sit back like a regular human response. Nope, too risky, which is
Right.
good because if you haven't researched it, don't do something you haven't researched. If you were going to do that, there's a mountain months of me and you researching before we would do something like that. I wasn't trying to make you look bad. You did it yourself.
But
Okay.
not sure if I should be mad or not, or
I mean, so if you have an
yeah, that's true though.
if you have an opportunity to buy a house from somebody that is low interest, a good price, and they're willing to take payments, most of us that watch this would jump on that. But we would know you hire a real estate attorney, like a lawyer that you hire that has your best interest at heart, gets everything recorded correctly. You do protect yourself. Uh, Coming up with the money, it might be possible to look into a home equity line of credit based on the property because it doesn't have to be habitable to do that. It could be a construction loan, like a 203K, but maybe not as restricted as a 203K loan because that's intended usually for an owner-occupied ending, which means Fannie Freddie backed, so you get a lot of more regulations in there. But a regular construction loan might be an option. And all lenders are built different. Right now, there are brokers saying, "Well, we can't do that," or credit unions saying we don't do that. But in 2 weeks, they'll have a completely different answer. Comic reciprocity. If you had something that forced you to move across the country, would you still continue to self-manage, deal with tenant turnovers yourself? At what point would you consider a property manager?
I've went that route, and I don't think I'll go property management anymore ever again. If I do, it'd just be to have them place tenants in the house and then me take over from there. Just had bad experiences. Um, I've got 3 properties in California. I self-manage them myself. I very rarely run into a problem that isn't fairly simple to fix.
If I had to move across the country for some reason and I own my properties here in Washington, I would not hire a property manager because I know the market. I've built the relationships with handyman contractors, plumbers, electricians, the cities. And so I would continue to self-manage. If I started purchasing in around Gary, Indiana, so probably not in Gary, Indiana, but around there, using my friend Mike's contacts, I would start there with property management. And if the portfolio got big enough because I was starting again, I would probably move there like Millennial Mike should and self-manage. To hire a property manager, if it's at a distance or you don't have a backbone, you wear your heart on your sleeve and tenants will walk all over you, or you're like my friend Adam who can't in any way deal with other human beings. He should not, he can't handle tenants. You should have a property manager. I don't think he can handle a property manager. Uh, but if you have the skills or the willingness to learn, the property managers make more than you do on your properties. They have motivation to have tenant turnover. There are some good ones out there, but the odds of finding one while hunting for deals, while trying to increase your income, to me is too much of a risk. I'm a fan of self-management. Ocean View asks, what is meant by look on the internet for deals? Does this mean search the MLS for deals? So when you said I think I would hunt in Hawaii, but I look on the internet every now and then.
Right.
Do you hang up before you answer that? I have one more question. Do you have a computer at your house?
That's what I was going to start with my statement.
Okay.
I do not have a computer. I go on my phone and I look through Zillow. Zillow gives me markets basically anywhere I want to look. Yes, I look in Hawaii occasionally through it. I go by whatever county, and that's been a good working system for me. I also have a son that does the same thing. He does have a computer, and he goes on to Zillow, and there's another site that he goes to, and he lets me know when there's a deal out there that I should possibly pursue.
You used the realtor that I used in the beginning. Um, I don't want to name him.
Right.
He's retired now. But did he ever bring you any deals, or did you just bring deals to him and then he did the paperwork?
He did actually bring me one deal, and it was a place that he didn't see, but it was my price range and what I was looking for. He had not even seen it, and he got upset when I bought it, and he finally saw it. He would have bought it himself. So it was the one time that he came through for me, only because he didn't do the research.
So I'm not a fan of looking on Zillow, Realtor, or Redfin because for small multifamily, they're just not accurate. And usually the deals that I purchased showed up after I purchased them as pending, after I closed. So I have a relationship with different real estate agents. So if I was going to start looking in Indiana, I would go to Angelo and I'd say, here's my criteria. I would increase my expected price a bit so I could look at deals that might take a lower offer. But I would have auto searches set up on the MLS. Neither one of us is a real estate agent. I have a long list of reasons why I don't want to do that. Have you ever considered getting your real estate license?
Too much paperwork. I don't like paperwork.
Oh, dang book reading.
Exactly.
Exactly. No, so neither one of us want to do that. I would have access to the MLS through agents. I'd probably pluralize that. Um, and you like go on Zillow and then find the properties. That's worked out great for you.
Right. And
Because
so like just driving around and finding abandoned houses. There's always papers on the door when there's going to be an auction held for foreclosure or other reasons. And then I do my research on those and pursue those. And it's not that hard to get out and just drive around the neighborhoods and talk to people. They'll let you know where places are that are empty that they'd love to see somebody move into. So that's just another way of doing things.
there's two things there that I'm going to unpack. The first one is that what you're doing is called driving for dollars. It's a really common thing and it's a really smart thing to do, especially in your market where you worked your tree service there for years. You know all the neighborhoods, you know all the streets,
Right.
you know where to go. The second thing is I really like how you said I do some research, and that's not really called breaking and entering into places that could be for sale.
That's true.
Okay. We're not saying do that. I'm saying that's what he did.
Boy.
Saeed says, thanks, Stephen. Can you delay the repairs? Oh, you had a property empty for 5 years, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so absolutely. And then what made you go, okay, it's been empty for 5 years. I'm gonna go do some repairs.
I just got bored and decided to work on it again. No, actually, that one there, I pursued other houses that were easier and quicker to fix and get money generated. That one had a lot of work, so I have always had it on the back burner.
My
Okay.
friend Cody that you've met, Cody Davis, does the same thing, buy several units, but get the ones that are closest. It's like triage on the battlefields. You fix the ones that can get back to war. You fix the units that are quickest to start generating money, and then the one that needs the most
Right.
work, or the one that has the longest delay for some reason,
Exactly.
get that done. 5 years is a bit long, though.
Yeah, but I've had people in there for 7 or 8 years and they're paying good money. And they'll probably stay there for another 7 or 8 years.
I love it. Once it's up and running, it's great.
Yep.
My longest unoccupied vacancy was the downstairs here when I bought it. I think it took, I want to say 10 months.
Right.
So that was a
You
long
know,
time, but that was trying every freaking day, stupid town.
that one was a foreclosure that I bought on the courthouse steps. The money that I paid for it, including the money I put into it, I got back, well, it sat for 5 years, but once it got rented, I got back all my money in less than 2 years, roughly 2 years, maybe 2 years and a few months. And it's been paying ever since. So now sometimes the ones that do need a lot of work that take forever on your spare time, they're worth it. It's a cash cow, man. It's making money.
I like how you still say it the way that cost me a decade. Got your money back, waited 5 years, then you got it in 2 years. That was 7 years to get your money back. Your money's still there. It's still in the property,
Right.
right? You could sell, you could cash out refinance, you could take out a HELOC.
Sure.
What you mean is the cash flow that you got repaid you the money that it took to buy the property.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Makes
I'm
total
pretty
sense.
sure everybody else figured that one out too, you know?
Well, it took me 10 years. Thanks.
Don't wait 10 years to open your eyeballs.
Laura Farr says David's my favorite. So
Well,
there you go.
thank you.
Yeah. Sunset Sky bought a house in July, had it inspected, appraised, and inspected by National Foundation Company. Old house, everything was good. Nothing major was found. 2 weeks later, hardwood floors buckled. Pulled them up, rotten subfloors and joists. I'm pretty sure it's all throughout the house. I knew better in my gut, should have followed that. You can do all the inspections possible, follow your instincts first and foremost. Yeah, inspectors can miss things. It sounds like that one didn't do an inspection in your crawl space, which can happen. I bought this place here. They never made it into the basement. Me and Millennial Mike didn't find the basement until we went down there with a sledgehammer and broke the floor open and realized there's a whole third floor. Do you know there's a third floor here?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's possible if there's no access, inspectors can only see what they can see.
That's
Then
probably where I'd live. It's that third
that
floor.
third floor down there. Yeah.
If I had to start over again.
Yeah, exactly. Atomic reciprocity took back a message to make us lose sleep and wonder forever and ever what they actually said. Ivan says, have we ever considered videos on how to increase business revenues? So I have a video. I've only done it once. I should do it again, but it was 17 ways a landlord can increase profit without raising rents, because there's a lot. Um, with your business, I'm an outsider, right? I did estimating, so I knew how some of the billing worked. But one of the ways that you increased revenue was getting on the short list for the cities,
Mhm.
um, getting insurance jobs, paying attention to when storms happened.
Right.
Uh,
I pursued real estate companies, told them if they let me get in there and trim up their trees, they could sell their properties quicker and for way more money. And I also told them that they didn't have to pay me until the house sold. And once I proved myself there, boy, was I loaded with work. Sounds stupid to him because it's work. He is a lazy one.
well, you were loaded with work that you could have hired somebody to do. I ran a company and it was how many people do we know that I hired?
That's
Can
okay.
you name one I didn't? I mean, other than you, and I tried for 10 years. 10 years of, hey, you got a CDL, come here, be an instructor. Look how much fun we get to have.
Yep.
You get 105,500 pounds of hazmat on the freeway with somebody on their first day, never seen a clutch before. And that could have been you.
Could have been me, but
What fun that would have been.
I didn't want to work for him.
Um, so yeah, Ivan, there's a lot of ways to increase revenue. When it comes to business, I've tried not to do too many business videos because that's what I did for 10 years is I ran a business, I grew it, I scaled it. I worked with state agencies, the VA, competitors, companies, and I retired to not do that. I enjoy real estate, financial freedom that comes from passive income. And then Sunset Sky says they didn't do an inspection on the crawl space. That's correct because it couldn't fit. Uh, yeah, very painful lesson. One of the things I've invested in, I think it costs $16, is a camera that plugs into my iPhone on a 16-foot cable. And I've gone into vents with that. I've gone down, it's waterproof with an LED light at the end. You can scope your own lines. Uh, and I will look in crawl spaces with it too. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us on this random Friday night. You are here because you're taking me to the airport at dark 30 in the morning to go to Las Vegas and speak at Caesar's Palace. Lumberjack Landlord, I think, is already there. Um, and based on the smell, the steaks are about to get on the barbecue. So
Sounds good.
you guys have an evening full of amazing. And based on every comment that said thank you to David, I am going to try to get you back on as often as possible.
Well, thank you.
Ciao. And I always wait a minute because